What if I told you Manchester United's win over Liverpool wasn't just about tactics, but a masterclass in exploiting physical disparity? Let's dive into this thrilling encounter and uncover how United's speed and strategic brilliance secured a crucial victory. Here is the analysis of the Manchester United versus Liverpool match, divided into two parts. The first part will focus on Manchester United's performance. Manchester United won the match 2-1. Let's start by discussing the starting lineup. I always maintained that Manchester United would lead in the first half but wouldn't extend the lead, and Liverpool wouldn't equalise too quickly. As expected, Manchester United scored early and Liverpool only equalised after making substitutions in the second half. Regarding the goal, I predicted it would likely come from the right flank, and the script was mostly accurate. However, Manchester United ended up scoring from a corner, which was unexpected due to a critical misstep in Liverpool manager Arne Slot's tactical adjustments. Why was it so easy to predict Manchester United would score first? Simple. Looking at the international break, Liverpool's starting lineup, excluding the goalkeeper, had already played 1,300 minutes in international matches, and including the goalkeeper, it reached 1,180 minutes. On the other hand, Manchester United's players had played fewer than 700 minutes. This means Liverpool's international workload was double that of Manchester United. Given this physical disparity, credit must be given to Manchester United coach Rúben Amorim for his pre-match strategy. He disregarded weather conditions and insisted on using the fastest attacking combination, which was the right decision. Manchester United had an absolute physical advantage, and amplifying this advantage required speed. Using a slower forward like Sesko would have slowed down the attack. Instead, opting for the fastest combination was the best choice. Matheus Cunha played the furthest forward, responsible for breaking through the defence. He was more suited to the role of a pivot than Sesko, fitting today's tactical needs. While this meant wasting Cunha's ability to drop back and advance play from midfield, there was no better option for breaking through up front. Kudos to Cunha for his efforts today. The winning goal came from a corner, and it was Cunha who sprinted to the byline to win it, ultimately securing 3 points for the team. The downside of not using Sesko was the lack of an aerial presence to win headers and play the ball directly to teammates, which might have forced the team to rely more on ground play. I was concerned before the match that relying on ground play would slow the tempo. Additionally, using Amad Diallo as a right wing-back raised concerns due to his preference for using his left foot, which might lead to him holding on to the ball too much. Before the match, I was worried this might prevent Manchester United from taking the lead. Thankfully, Amorim didn't make any mistakes this time. Goalkeeper Senna Lamens didn't even consider whether Sesko was up front or whether Bryan Mbeumo could win aerial duels, instead opting to kick long balls forward, which was the correct approach. Even though many long balls were lost in the air, they successfully created midfield scrambles, which became the key to today's victory. Both goals originated from these scrambles. Midfield scrambles continuously drain the opponent's stamina and amplify one's physical advantage. You'll notice that Manchester United won several midfield battles. Although Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro both played 2 international matches, with Casemiro playing nearly a full half and eventually getting injured due to fatigue, midfield scrambles involve both Manchester United wing-backs assisting in the centre, cleverly creating a 4 versus 3 advantage in midfield. Manchester United's wing-backs didn't have much international match time, while Liverpool's midfielders were severely affected by FIFA virus fatigue. As a result, even when Liverpool defenders won aerial duels, the ball often fell to Manchester United players, who outnumbered Liverpool's players in white shirts. Therefore, the strategy of long balls, followed by winning midfield scrambles, was correct. Even the first goal came from this approach. Around 40 seconds into the match, Lamens kicked the ball forward. Liverpool defender Virgil van Dijk won the header against Bryan Mbeumo. But the ball fell to Bruno Fernandes in the centre circle, surrounded by Manchester United players. No matter where the ball was headed, it randomly ended up with a Manchester United player. Fernandes stood his ground, and the team immediately launched an attack. Essentially, Van Dijk's header clearance acted as a false pivot for Manchester United. Manchester United didn't have a tall forward as a pivot, but Liverpool inadvertently provided a false one. The corner in the second half also resulted from a long ball won in the midfield scramble. which quickly led to a corner and subsequent goal. Manchester United's dominance in midfield scrambles was the key to today's victory. Playing high balls in a 3-4-3 formation quickly created midfield scrambles, which outnumbered Liverpool's 4-3-3 and 4-2-3-1 midfield setups. At this point, if you're sharp, you might ask why Manchester United drew against Fulham earlier. Fulham played a 4-2-3-1 formation, and their manager, Marco Silva, claimed they won the midfield battle against Manchester United's 3-4-3 setup. So why did Manchester United's 3-4-3 win the midfield against Liverpool's 4-2-3-1 today? The answer is simple. In the Fulham match, Manchester United played slowly, building up gradually. In a 3-4-3 formation, slowly building play or defending typically occurs in the two halves, with wing-backs either pushing forward to assist in attack or dropping back to help defend, leaving only two players in central midfield. Therefore, when playing slowly against a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 opponent, the midfield is always outnumbered. Today, speed was the key. When playing quickly, midfield scrambles favoured Manchester United. Against Liverpool, quick long balls forward, neither focusing on attack nor defence, but concentrating play around the centre line, meant Manchester United's wing-backs stayed near the centre, neither too far forward nor too far back, creating a four-man advantage in midfield. This proves Amorim knew how to adapt when playing away at Liverpool. In the future, I hope he sticks to a five-back formation and plays quickly, avoiding possession-based traps. The concern now is that Manchester United might become complacent after beating Liverpool, thinking they're a strong team and reverting to slow, possession-based play. Last season, after beating Manchester City, they started playing slower and worse. My stance remains playing with five defenders requires speed. Slow play is ineffective. Of course, playing fast every game will be physically taxing in the second half of the season, but at least securing enough points in the first half is crucial. Today's lead against Liverpool came from speed. So, how did the first goal happen? A player was hit in the head, and play was paused. However, when Manchester United regained possession and countered, Liverpool players were half a step slower. Van Dijk's pressure on Fernandes was late, and Ibrahima Konaté's chase of Mbeumo was even slower. Mbeumo's right-footed shot lacked angle, as his right foot has always been subpar, and he shot straight at the goalkeeper, offering little threat. Liverpool goalkeeper Georgi Mamardashvili's reaction was also slow. Liverpool either underestimated Manchester United or were affected by FIFA virus fatigue. Given Liverpool's 3 consecutive losses before this match, it's unlikely they underestimated their rivals, so FIFA virus fatigue was likely the cause. Assist provider Amad Diallo and goalscorer Mbeumo had only played 1 international game, while defenders Van Dijk and Mamardashvili had played 2 full matches, leading to muscle fatigue and slower reactions. Konaté had just returned from injury and wasn't fully fit, making Manchester United's lead understandable. Before the match, I believed Manchester United needed to score in the first 20 minutes when their energy was at its peak. However, I didn't think they had the quality to extend the lead. After scoring in the first minute, their next chance came in the 24th minute, when Fernandes hit the post. This counter-attack was much slower than the first. Manchester United's quality and stamina only lasted 20 minutes. So, how can Manchester United maintain their winning ways? This brings us to the second challenge after winning midfield scrambles, which is to immediately shrink the play and ensure it remains shrunk in the second half. While Manchester United had a physical advantage, continuing to play fast-paced football was only suitable for the first half. In the second half, Liverpool manager Slot had the opportunity to bring on faster substitutes. Looking at both benches, Liverpool's substitutes were faster and more impactful, especially Federico Chiesa. Therefore, I predicted Liverpool would equalise. To prevent this, Manchester United needed to shrink their play to neutralise Liverpool's substitutes. Amorim got this right today, shrinking the play immediately after scoring. Initially, I wasn't sure if Amorim would do this, as he gradually stopped shrinking the play after beating Manchester City last season. Typically, if Manchester United had a physical advantage, Amorim would push to the limit, even pressing the opponent. This approach failed in the Europa League final and against Manchester City. However, today, after taking the lead, he switched to a 5-4-1 formation and shrunk the play, showing he had learned his lesson. It's unclear whether having a goalkeeper suited to counterattacks gave him more confidence. Lamens' attributes are similar to David De Gea's. He isn't great with his feet, but his shot-stopping abilities are superb, making him ideal for a counter-attacking style. With Lamens in goal, not focusing on possession-based play was the right call. In the second half, Manchester United inevitably lost in terms of substitute speed. However, they managed to steal a goal from a corner, which, in addition to winning the numbers game, was also due to Liverpool manager Slot's poor substitutions, which we'll analyse in part 2. Amorim's substitutions came before Slot's, and Amorim's pre-match strategy, in-game adjustments and substitutions were all spot on. Credit to him for that. Even if Casemiro's injury accelerated his substitutions, he made the right call by substituting 2 players, including removing Amad Diallo, who was on a yellow card and prone to defensive mistakes. Today, Harry Maguire was outstanding from start to finish. Long ridiculed by Manchester United fans, I never joined in, always emphasising the importance of tactics suiting him. Playing in a back 3, positioned centrally, suits him perfectly. Diogo Dalot was better on the right than Lenny Yoro. Maguire was a colossus today, delivering a world-class performance. The winning goal wasn't just about him scoring. It was also about him sprinting into midfield to win the ball in a scramble, leading to the corner. The entire winning goal and the 3 points were entirely Maguire's doing. He deservedly earned the title of best player. Another point worth mentioning is that in the 82nd minute, Maguire was still able to sprint into midfield to help win the ball. At his age, how was he so sharp? Again, it boils down to not playing internationals and having 2 weeks of rest. Of course, I must mention a few things. Manchester United's win was partly due to Liverpool being heavily affected by FIFA virus fatigue, masking the issue of Manchester United shrinking their play too early after scoring in the first minute. Additionally, Liverpool manager Slot's rotations and substitutions were problematic, with some players underperforming, hitting the post multiple times, and even a potential penalty not given. The referee didn't see the ball hitting Diallo's hand, and VAR deemed it not a clear and obvious error, so they didn't intervene. However, Diallo's hand was slightly extended. If the referee had awarded the penalty, VAR might not have intervened, and it would have been a penalty. This highlights the issue of using attacking players as defenders. Even though the penalty wasn't given, his carelessness was evident, as he isn't used to playing right wing-back. He also couldn't retract his foot quickly enough to defend, allowing Cody Gakpo to enter the box and cross. Attacking players aren't as disciplined in keeping their hands in, therefore not conceding a penalty was fortunate. A few minutes later, Gakpo's half-chance also resulted from Diallo's defensive shortcomings. If it were a proper defender like Kirkes, he would have surely intercepted the ball. However, Diallo, an inexperienced defender, lacked the defensive prowess to do so. Luckily, Gakpo's shot hit the post. Later, in the second half, Diallo received a yellow card for an unnecessary tackle on Gakpo. Using attacking players as defenders in big matches might be the only point of discussion for Amorim today. Of course, it might be due to other players not being fit to start, forcing him to use Diallo. Ultimately, Manchester United played the right foundation and succeeded with a counter-attacking approach. Even with some luck, Jose Mourinho often employed similar tactics. In summary, it's correct not to attempt possession-based play at Anfield. This style of taking an early lead in the first half and trying to hold on in the second half has been used by Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Erik ten Hag, albeit with different structures. It's part of Manchester United's DNA, and counter-attacking is the right approach. While it doesn't necessarily have to be Amorim's style, even Mourinho, Solskjaer and ten Hag would employ similar tactics in big matches. Therefore, whoever the coach is, they'll likely adopt this approach. In other words, entering a dark period isn't necessarily wrong, but it shouldn't be under Amorim, as he tends to go to extremes. That's the nature of a 5-back system, and he's committed to it. Counter-attacking with speed suits a 5-back system, but playing possession-based football with 5 defenders is much harder and more complicated, leading to darker periods. Amorim should stick to being a transitional coach, using quick tactics for immediate results. Occasionally, beating Manchester City and Liverpool is fine, but he shouldn't aim for a 20-year tenure. Employing quick tactics, this season's Manchester United wouldn't perform poorly. I've said before that playing faster and using more high balls would easily stabilise them in the upper half of the league. Before the season started, I predicted their ranking would be surprisingly high, far above their current position. Single-line competition offers a physical advantage, and it's not difficult to have a good season. Occasional success isn't surprising. However, Amorim chose to play slowly at the start of the season, giving up results and facing heavy criticism. If Manchester United continues with the correct tactics, can they reach the predicted pre-season ranking? Let's wait and see. Please comment, like and subscribe to the channel to show your support and love. See you in part 2.